Welcome back to Just Scribble. I recently purchased some Franklin Covey Classic size inserts and apparently didn't pay attention very much to that because I didn't realize that they have a different hole configuration and they don't fit in A5 size rings. So I did know the Franklin Covey Classic size is half letter, so it's not actually A5, although similar in size, it is not actually an A5 size. So for reference, this is an A5 size paper and this is Franklin Covey Classic. So the A5 size paper is wider, but a little bit shorter. So the Franklin Covey Classic is half letter, so it is 5.5 by 8.5, but it has a unique ring configuration. So it has 7 rings instead of 6. 3 of them are equally spaced. So you have the center one and then the 2 on the opposite sides that are equally spaced. And then a little bit farther spaced, you have these other 2 on each side. And so you can actually put these into a like a junior size 3-ring binder. So this ring and then these rings work. So like an Avery junior size binder. But I didn't really want to use that. I wanted something a little bit nicer. So I started looking at what my options were for Franklin Covey Classic size inserts. Turns out there aren't actually a lot of options. Most of the ring planner shops that I looked at or that I have shopped from don't offer this ring configuration. So there is obviously Franklin Covey, so you could buy their covers, but I really wasn't in love with any of them. And the ones that I did kind of like were on the pricier end. And I don't know if my Franklin Covey Classic idea is even going to work. And we're going to talk about that in a different video. But I didn't really want to go that route because I wasn't 100% sold on their covers. And so I started looking for other options. It turns out that Daytimer actually sells a junior, and that's the same thing as a Franklin Covey Classic. So it's a half letter size, and you can buy them like at Office Depot and Staples and things like that and Amazon. But again, I wasn't in love with any of the covers. At a Glance had something similar. Again, didn't really like it. Emily Lay had like a simplified binder that I guess was around a while back. It's like a fake leather floral kind of cover. Also didn't really love that. So I started looking around to figure out what my options were. So besides putting it in like a cheap Avery 3-ring binder, I couldn't find a whole lot of options. So then I started thinking, somebody's got to sell replacement rings for this. So what if I bought replacement rings and then I put it in an A5 binder that I could take the rings out of? So like a Moterm where you can replace the rings yourself. And I started searching and I found a brand called Tanya Plans, and they sell ring planners that have this configuration, and they also sell replacement rings. Didn't really like the ring covers. It wasn't really sold on those, but I decided I would buy the replacement rings and see if I could put them into a cover and make something myself. So that's what we're going to do today. This may be a complete and utter fail, but that is what we're going to try. So I originally thought I could use an A5 binder and just take the rings out if it had replaceable rings, but I don't think that the hole placement for like where you put the rings in is the same spacing on the 7 ring as it is on an A5 ring. So instead, I decided that I would try using a half letter disc bound cover from Moterm. This is in their blue. I actually don't know the name of this, but it's got the big back pocket and then a zipper pocket, a ton of card pockets and a slip pocket and another slip pocket and a slip pocket and another slip pocket and a secretarial pocket and a ton more card pockets and the pen loop and then the 2 poppers here. I wanted to see if I could take this and the rings that I bought from Tanya Plans and if I could put them together and make a cover for my Franklin Covey Classic. Now, this is a test. I don't know if this is actually going to work, but we're going to do it together on camera. I also don't know if I'm actually going to like this setup or the Franklin Covey Classic size. But regardless of whether it works, I thought it would be a really good thing to try out and also to share with you guys, because maybe you like half letter size and you've looked for binders, or you like Franklin Covey Classic inserts, but you're not in love with binders or you wanted other options. So it would be a good thing to test to see if this will work as far as like actually installing the rings, and also then a test to see if I like the classic setup that I'm planning to test out, that we're going to talk about in a different video. Anyways, so I ordered rings from Tanya. So I ordered 2 different diameters of rings, a really chunky one and then a smaller one. They came with the rings and then with the little screws to install the rings. And then she also included a free gift, which was super, super sweet. I don't remember off the top of my head what the diameters of these are, so I will put that down here and then also down in the description box. But when I ordered it, I went ahead and ordered 2 page lifters, because the other problem with Franklin Covey Classic size is there's really not a lot of accessories available that I could find like anywhere other than buying things from Daytimer that were kind of generic, and then Franklin Covey. So I ordered these page lifters, 2 of them, just because I was already ordering, and I was ordering 2 sets of rings, and she included a free gift. So a little card. So a little card that says, here's your free gift. And then it has a 2025 sticker, a functional sticker sampler, and then this really nice, thick vellum with some beautiful florals and my name on it, which was really, really sweet. And I will definitely use it in the setup when I'm testing it out. So that came free with it. But what we're going to do today is we're going to see if we can take these and put them in this. This is the test that we're going to do. So I'm actually going to install the smaller rings, just because I don't think I actually want it to be this chunky. This seems more the size that I'm going to want the setup to be. But because these just screw in, just like when you replace rings in a Moterm ring cover, it's super easy to change them out. So if I decide that I need the chunkier rings, we can add those later. But I'm going to open up the rings, if I can find my scissors. I have changed out rings in ring covers because, like, my Sojourner ring planner has replaceable rings, and so I've replaced those before. So I know the process of actually installing them is pretty quick and easy, and I've done that a lot, but I've never actually created the holes and all of that. But I have done TNs, like I have made TNs. So I do have some of the tools to do this, although I had trouble finding my mallet. So we're gonna makeshift that because I have no idea where I put it. But the plan is that we are going to punch holes in this just through this layer so that the screws are inside the pocket, and then you won't see anything on the outside. Then if later I decide I don't like this, I still can use this for disc bound. So for half letter disc, I can just take the rings back out. So it's not like I'm ruining the cover. I'm just adding 2 little holes, and then it will work for either, ideally, in theory, if this works. So what we're going to do is first figure out the placement. So I'm kind of winging this a little bit, but my plan was to measure across. So this is 15 3/4. So my center at 16 would be there. So about there. So center is about here. I'm just using a pencil to kind of make a mark. And then this way, this may be easier to use my other ruler. Let's do it this way. Let's see, 24, so 12 is the center. So that's about the center of the notebook. And then this is, there's probably a way better way to do this than how I'm doing it, but this is what we're doing because this is what I've got. This is 8.5 inches, which would mean 4 1/4 is the center. So from 4 1/4, so 1, 2, 3.5. 1, 2, 3.5. So I need to go 3.5 inches down and 3.5 inches this way. And that should be where my holes need to be. Let's see if I can check this. That looks right. All right. Hopefully this is pretty centered. It seems pretty centered. Measurements seem right. All right, so what I have is this, I actually don't remember what the name of this is, but it's like a punch mat. And then I have a punch that punches holes, and I don't have my mallet. That's the that's the tool I'm missing. So I have this crazy rusty pair of pliers that my husband had laying around. So that's what we're going to use. And we're going to punch holes where I put these dots. I'm going to punch holes through, in theory, this is going to work, through the leather. And then I'm just going to install this with the screws. Here's hoping. All right, so this is going to go where the hole is, and then I'm going to use this to whack it to make the hole. Now, I'm going to do one whack where you guys can hear it, and you're going to see like crazy vibrations from my camera. But then I will kind of skip over or fast forward after that because I don't want to make anybody nauseous or anything like that with the movement. But I'm just going to hit this way. So it is making a divot, but it's going to take quite a lot of hitting, partly because I think I have leather stuck in here. I have not used this in a while. I've also been sick, so I'm not feeling great, so this is probably kind of a disjointed video, and I apologize. Yeah, there's some holes that I had made out of some leather the last time I used this. But all I'm going to do is keep whacking this until I make it all the way through this layer. And then I will do the same thing on the other end. All right, so I made it through the leather, if you can see that there. I just need to make it through this like plasticky, fabric-y stuff. And then that side will be done. And then we'll do the same thing through the other side. So let me whack it a few more times. I'm not sure that it's going to break through the fabric, so I think what I'm going to have to do is just poke a hole through the fabric. So I think that's what we'll do. So right now we'll just do the other side and get the hole there, and then I'll just poke a hole because I don't actually need the full hole for the screw. All right, let me erase my pencil marks. We have holes, kind of. We have holes through the leather. We just need holes through the little plasticky stuff. So I have big scissors. Oh, this will be better. All right, so I have my cutter bee scissors that are really, really fine. Thought I could kind of poke a hole, but maybe I just need to snip it. I just want to be able to get the screw through the hole. We're going to see if this works. It would have been significantly cheaper, I think, to just buy like a cheap daytimer cover, especially since I don't even know if this setup is going to work, but I didn't like them. And Sometimes to find out if you like a setup, you have to actually like how it's set up. And so I wanted to give it a true go, which meant I felt like I needed something that I would actually like. Now, I would love, you know, like a super nice cover, like Eternal Leather Goods or BDS or something, but, and hopefully my placement for these screws is good. Seems pretty okay. All right, so I have screws, but I don't have the other part. And I thought I selected that I needed like the other part, but maybe that just meant screws. So, let me see if I have an extra set of like the little nut type things. All right, this is like the true definition of Jimmy rigging something. So I have these replacement rings for Pocket or Pocket Plus, and these are from Moterm. And I'm going to steal this part from here to use for this, and hopefully this works. Again, there's a much easier way to test out half letter if you're wanting half letter, which would be to just buy a cheap one on Amazon. But why would I make things easy on myself? There'd be no fun in that. Plus, then how could I share with you guys that you could DIY one yourself? All right. So I'm going to stick those through the hole. It's the little like nut part. Like that. Hopefully I'm still on camera and you guys can see what I'm doing. All right, and then here's where we're gonna find out if I line things up right. And I did. Hopefully it's straight. And then we're gonna put the little screws in. I did also think about using like a leather folio or a leather TN and adding holes to a leather TN. So I could definitely make myself, because I do have leather and I've done leather work, I definitely could make myself a leather cover, or I could even probably order a leather cover from someone without the holes, because I think the placement is different, and also without like the rings, you know, and then I could put these on myself. So if I decide I like this and I want a nicer leather than the Moterm, there are options. And of course I could buy a Franklin Covey if I actually end up liking it. I think the only one I really like from Franklin Covey is the Aurora, but I could look around and try to find one. But I did it. So now there are rings. They're really stable. On the inside, you just have the little nut piece, just like you would in a Moterm ring cover. I have access to the back pocket, and because this is half letter size, a full letter size piece of paper will fit back there. Almost a legal size piece of paper. Let's see, how wide is this? Yeah, I actually think you could put a legal piece of paper, legal size piece of paper, US legal, but you could put US letter there. I have slip pockets that I can use for things, and card pockets I can use for deco and things. I have a little zipper pocket. There's even a slip pocket over here. So there's tons of storage in here. It's got a pen loop, which I love because I love having a pen with me, especially at work, which is, spoiler alert, what this is for, what this test is for. But I can have my pen and I have my rings. It feels really good from there. So before I let you go, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab just a chunk of that Franklin Covey stack that I have to put it in here, just to show you guys kind of how it fits. And then in a separate video, we're going to talk about what I'm doing or why I'm doing this and kind of go through that. So give me a second. Let me grab some paper. That much for our demonstration. But if I put that there, see, they don't wiggle at all, which is great. Oh, I should put the page lifter that she sent. Or I bought it. This she sent. Let's take the plastic off. And again, Tanya Plans has covers too, so there are other options. I didn't actually look at her site too carefully to see what kind of covers she has, like what all the options are. So she may have other things besides just classic size. So you can definitely check that out. I will have her shop link down below. But that's what it would look like with some inserts in it. You can see that there. There's enough room for tabs and the pen. There's enough room for top tabs and some bottom tabs or page markers. It seems to be like sturdy. And when you open it up, it lays pretty flat. I mean, as flat as something with a back pocket does. And the rings work well. I think this is the right size rings too. I think these are going to be too big. But I bought both because A, I wasn't sure, but also B, if I do like this and I want to use this later for like storage or archiving, and then put these into a leather one that I make or a different leather cover, I could do that as well. So I figured since I was paying shipping, I might as well buy both. But now I have a half letter ring bound or Franklin Covey Classic or Day Timer Junior, I think is what it's called, ring binder, but made out of a Moterm half letter disc bound cover. And again, I can still use this for disc bound. I just take this off and it works for disc bound as well. So no damage done, just the two tiny holes, which don't compromise the functionality of the cover. And once you had a planner in here, you wouldn't even really see them anyways. All right, so that is my kind of share tutorial on making your own Franklin Covey Classic binder. It worked. I'm super excited. Feels really good in the hand. In the next video about this, I'll talk about what I'm doing or what I'm testing and why. We'll go through it in more detail and some setup stuff. And I will also do a comparison of this to an A5 ring binder from Moterm, since they're the same brand. So you can see like a size comparison and how the rings compare and all of that. But that's my video. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to put them down below and I will definitely get back with you. Give me a thumbs up if you liked this video. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss future videos. And don't forget to just scribble.